Okay, so my background is dry and I use salt, and so I did scrape all the salt off. So if you do use salt, the salt should come out of your painting. And you can see that it's left this kind of cool, it's almost like a little flower texture. It's very crystalline back there. Next steps would be for me, in a different painting would be for me to first paint the clothes. So because we're kind of always thinking about going from back to front, if I look at this other example, I've got my background done, and now my next step is going to be to work on the clothes. When I'm working on the clothes, I'm making sure that I'm thinking about the shadows in the clothing. So you can see he's got this very deep shadow under his arm or under his hand over here, and I've replicated that deep shadow. I have simplified a few things, like I've taken his necklace out of here because I decided I didn't want to paint the necklace. I am trying to replicate the plaid, or at least hint at that he's wearing a plaid shirt. I need one more wash. This stuff down here is too white. Otherwise, I'm feeling pretty good about his shirt being finished. So you want to think about moving from the back to the front. In another example, we can see here that, remember I was using the CAD red light, which looks like orange. When you add black to it, it browns out, so that's in the background. And you can see here that I'm working to replicate the shadows in the side of his t-shirt before moving on to working with the shadows of his face. So if I were to continue this, really what I need to do at this point is soften a few of these lines. Remember, we can soften our watercolor by cleaning our paintbrush out and cleaning out the paint. I can see here that this shadow needs to be deeper than what I have painted it. And I'm gonna kind of just clean up a few of these blooms that happened overnight. So you can see I'm looking at the photo while I'm working, and I'm just adding in more of that color. So he's got this dark triangular shape here that I'm going to add in. And that's this one here. This is a little darker and a little harder. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of deepen that. And I'm just replicating as close as possible the shadows and the details on the clothing without, you know, making myself crazy. I don't necessarily need every seam or every stitch. I do, however, need them to feel not just flat. I need them to feel fairly recognizable, I think is a good term for us. So you can see right now I actually don't have paint in my paintbrush. I have cleaned it out, and I'm working with the paint that's just on my image already to sort of just smooth out some of those shadows that are already there. Smoothing out so that it doesn't feel so rough. It feels a little more fabric-y. Getting rid of a few of these blooms. Like I said, that's when the paint, like that water, blooms up at the bottom. Just working to make his t-shirt feel a bit more like fabric and a less like painty. Okay, so that is, like I said, next steps after the background happens is to just carefully watch and paint the shadows that are there in the clothing before moving into the shadows that are on the face itself. And I'm going to work on this obviously until it feels a little more like a t-shirt and a little less like a collection of random watercolor shapes.